Before we start the episode, we would like to acknowledge that this podcast is recorded on the stolen lands of the Turrbal and Yagara people. We would like to pay our respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. Kellyanne Doll, the inimitable, high-octane burlesque powerhouse, captivating audiences all around the world with her sassy, speedy, and salacious style of tease for almost 2 decades, and in 2024 represented Australia at the Burlesque Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. This multi-award winning pocket rocket leaves her audiences exhilarated, breathless, and overstimulated in the best possible way. But she comes with a warning. Be sure to hold on to your drinks. She's known for breaking hearts and glassware everywhere she goes. Kellyanne is also the event director for Red Right Hand Entertainment, which is a female-owned entertainment and production company in Sydney, Australia. They produce shows like Red Light Confidential, Dr. Sketchy's Sydney, The Get Down Variety Club, The Ruby Review, The Apprentice New South Wales, and more.
Welcome back to the Burlesque Bulletin podcast. I am your host, as always, Honey Holloway, and today we are here with Kellyanne Doll. Hello.
Hello.
How are you going?
Oh, I'm fabulous. It's Sunday. It's a long weekend. The vibes are good.
Heck yeah. So for everyone who doesn't know you, which I mean, if you're living under a rock, maybe that's why they don't know you. But if they don't, can you give a little spiel on who you are and how you started in burlesque?
Yes, my name's Kellyanne Doll. I started burlesque in 2007.
Wow.
2007. I mean, I've been swing dancing for most of my life, so almost 35 years now. And coming up to my 18th year in burlesque, actually just passed in this February. So I have been performing for almost half my life in burlesque. And I started in Sydney and then moved to Melbourne and started my career down there, and just was able to just be at the right time, at the right place, and had something that no one else really was doing back then, the fast footwork and the fast high energy stuff. And I was very, very, very lucky, and stars aligned, and here I am, and I produce a lot of shows in Sydney, and I get to travel the world, and yeah, life's good. The rest is history, I guess.
Yes. I do want to say as well, before we get into it, I did listen to your Stripped Back podcast episode.
That was fun.
We love Daisy here. So
yes.
Shout out to Daisy and the Stripped Back podcast. And if anyone hasn't listened to that one, I would encourage everyone to go and have a listen, because obviously you spoke a lot about how you really got into it and everything like that, got into burlesque and how you started. And there's just so many amazing tidbits and amazing questions on that one. So definitely go check that out.
Thank you. That was a really fun one, actually. I mean, I had about 3 mimosas before I did that. So
excellent.
There was some long questions and answers there, but it was really fun. It was nice to do. I haven't done a podcast in such a long time, so it was nice to be asked some questions like that. Took me back.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and it was a good little warm up for me, because I was like, I know a little bit of your story and everything, so I was even more excited to get into this chat. So also I wanted to ask, I usually ask my guests, do you know your sun sign, so your zodiac sign, sun sign, moon and rising, if you know?
So I am a sun Pisces, and I'm a Virgo moon. And Aquarius placement. So yeah, so there's a lot of back and forth there, a lot of love, a lot of wearing my emotions on my sleeve, and I think that definitely is prominent when you see me on stage. I find there's a lot of what's going on inside of me at that time, and wanting to project that. So yeah, and also my love life is just chaos, just chaos at all times.
Awesome. Lovely. So if you could describe Kellyanne Doll in 5 words, what would they be?
Fast, fabulous, and a fucking liability. Which is
That's
what's coming
amazing.
out on my merch. I've been working on my merch for a year now, and I just was like, came to me. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's
So
perfect.
stay tuned. You'll see some stuff coming out. But yeah, fast, fabulous, and yeah, definitely a liability.
I love that. I will definitely buy one of those shirts.
Yes.
So how did you choose your stage name?
So Kellyanne obviously is my name, and I everything else was really taken, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be a character or not be myself. So Kellyanne, and I'm a doll. I'm small and I'm tiny, and it just sort of just fit really well. And I didn't want to remember two names. I didn't have any qualms about anybody knowing about anything in my life. My family was really supportive. The jobs that I had were really supportive, so it didn't actually make sense for me to create two separate identities. So stuck with it. So yeah.
Beautiful. And it just rolls off the tongue. Like it's really cute and it's just, I don't know. And it does kind of
Yeah.
feel like that old classic name as well.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
like it. I've stuck with it. I never thought about changing it. So here we are.
So who's been some of your burlesque inspirations?
I'd say Pearl Noir is probably my biggest inspiration. I find a lot of strength in her and the way she performs, and she's just so raw and high energy, and comes from a real place of power on the inside, and just leaves it all out there. And she doesn't care about the photos. She doesn't care about what you think. And when I first saw Pearl Noir, I was like, well, okay. So before that, I really didn't have any representation of going out there and dancing without any just inhibitions, you know. So I finally, when I saw Pearl Noir and when I toured with Pearl Noir in 2011, she just really gave me that confidence to be myself and to not give a flying F about anything other than what you put on that stage. And she's always has been a big inspiration to me. So I wouldn't be doing it today if she wasn't in my life in the beginning of my career. So yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So do you have a specific creative process or does it change from every act?
Um, no, I don't actually. Like I said, I mean, back then, there were no rules when I started, you know, but because we were on a lot of residencies where we had a very unique opportunity to inspire ourselves and change our look and change our style and change our music. And, you know, some people would just stick with the same songs and some people would be, and to this day, probably still do the same acts over and over again. I just have a real issue with not challenging myself. And so I chose different music every time, and I chose to dance to different styles. And obviously I'm a swing dancer, so I was able to switch genres, go from the classic style to modern and pop and rock. And I was given a lot of opportunities to dance in a lot of styles of shows, whether it be grungy shows or rock and roll shows or classic shows. And I learned from a very young age in burlesque that you needed to be versatile in order to be you know, desired in terms of flexibility of working with producers. So the creative process for me is more just what do I feel like doing today, or how do I feel today, and do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Do I feel like angry? Do I want to f the patriarchy? Do I want to, you know, get that guy out of my hair? Get that friends, you know, just like that, you know, work struggles. Anything that's coming up inside of me is how I am inspired by what I do. So yeah, you'll very rarely see me do the same act twice, but lately I've been sort of honing in on my favorite signature pieces, and especially going to Beehoff last year and doing Viva this week. So you know they've chosen my oldest act, for one of the first acts I ever performed. I'm now performing still 14 years later in a worldwide competition, which is quite, sometimes you think, oh God, I did all those acts and the first one I ever did is the one they all want. So maybe I should have probably just stuck to that one. But no, I have the best time because it does teach you to just go out there and dance to whatever you can and whatever you want, because why not? Why not?
Amazing. When I was listening to the Stripped Back podcast, I loved your story of like how you got into burlesque and like you know, no one was doing like the fast beat or the fast movements and stuff like that. That's sort of like such a different thing that wasn't in it. And I don't think I've seen anyone else sort of do that same thing even now. Um, it's interesting that you're saying you're Aquarius rising, because I feel like Aquarius is always, they're sort of the trailblazers, like they're always the first to do stuff in spaces that maybe, you know, there's like traditions, I guess, and they'll always bring something new. So I feel like definitely I can see that so much in how you've brought your like unique flavor to burlesque. So
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't without its struggles, don't get me wrong, and still obviously to this day it's not obviously there isn't a lot of people. There is some people now really pushing themselves, and that, you know, I feel like if you're not sweating, I don't trust you. If you're not sweating, I don't trust you. No, but I mean, I love my sisters and who can pull up that slow, classic, beautiful style, because I can't do it. I've tried a couple of classes even to this day, and I'm like, where what about doing a da 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 da? And what happens when you go to the second step? Why? I cannot do it for to save my life, but I just wasn't born to do it that way. But yeah, I think it was never recognized for such a long time. But we didn't have any classes, you know, back in when we started. So the people that were telling me that it was wrong, I'm like, well, where do you get off telling me that it's wrong? Like, who taught you and who taught them? Like, it should no one should be ever taught how to what style is classified as burlesque. If as long as it comes from the heart, and as long as you do it with you know, honesty and truth and being yourself, then there are no rules.
definitely.
You know, so yeah, but still to this day it is hard to project, to get on certain bills and to get on certain lineups, because you know they are classic, and it's not really classified as a classic style because there isn't a lot of representation. But I'll keep doing it my way. I'm in my own lane, and I'm having the best time doing it. So
Heck
yeah.
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 So if you could choose someone to share a dressing room with, who would it be?
Share a dressing room with. I mean, I've pretty much shared a dressing room with everybody. I mean, I don't know if they choose me. No, I I have so much fun. For me, every dressing room is kind of like the first date school. You know, it's kind of, you don't know, you got to go get your section, and you got to go, you know, make sure, like, oh my god, did I sit in someone's spot? Or, but I think I don't know. I have fun in every dressing room. It's the only dressing room that's not fun is when you're by yourself.
Fair.
So as long as I share my dressing room with people that build you up and bring you up, and you know, you're hyping each other up, and you're you're not just sitting there in silence, or, you know. But all those, so there's some, you know, neurospices that just love to just be in their corner and be in their own space. But even when they're being like that, you make sure that, you know, offering them wine or giving them their space, and just as long as the vibe is good,
Yeah.
I'll share a dressing room with anybody.
Amazing, amazing. So if you could swap lives with anyone in the burlesque community, who would it be?
Swap lives. No one. Because I'm sure we all got it hard. You know, I think there is no easy journey. I find, no, I wouldn't swap with anyone, because everyone's got their shit going on. So you don't want to wish your life was like someone else's, because, you know, everyone's going through a struggle, and everyone's journey is so personal. I'm sorry if that's a shit answer, but I think that burlesque, look, if I could be anyone,
It's just for one day. Let's do one day.
Zelia Rose. Zelia Rose, because at least she's done it all. She's done it all. She's the most amazing. She got to #1. She's danced with Dita. She's on tour. So if I could do one day and be like, oh cool, I'm Zelia Rose. And she knows how much I love that. I love her so much. But if I was to do anything just based on how much she's gained and how much she's done, and especially at such a young age, and just she's just such a star. And I think she's had so much confidence and so much support from her family, that just she just has it. And she was just so blessed and so deserving of all the things that she's has until this point, and probably will for the rest of her life. It would be nice at 43 to be like, I'm really right. But yeah, I do miss her quite a bit. But yeah, I honestly, I wouldn't swap with anyone. Everyone, has got their own journeys, and I don't think if someone said me, I'd be like, okay.
You'd be like, are you sure?
Okay, come on down. Come on down. Take it.
So what's been one of your favorite or most amazing highlights that you've had throughout your burlesque journey?
Well, I mean, Beehoff was pretty spectacular. And and going first at Beehoff, I mean, in terms of like, whether it hindered my chance of winning going first, I don't know, I'll never know. But to go first at the tournament of tease was just the best feeling, because opening a show that has, from the as the first of debut all the way up until the end of Mix Exotica, that was my win, because I was like, I love opening a show, and to open the Olympics of burlesque was just such an incredible experience. And mind you, I thought I was going to have an angina, like standing backstage, and I was just like ready to go on. It's like, Kelly, it's just a normal show. 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 It's just being streamed like worldwide right now, and you're opening the goddamn thing. It's taken you 10 years to get in, and it was just this like huge wave of like purging emotions. And then as soon as that music hit, I was just, that stage is like a football field size. So I was like, just don't die. Just don't die. Just don't die. But that was probably one of the biggest personal game like experiences for me that was good. Dancing for Cat Empire as a burlesque dancer was chosen by the amazing Ali McGregor, and Imogen Kelly also gave me a shout out. And so to be chosen to headline with Cat Empire on a stage like in front of 3,000 people, and I'm like, it's the Cat Empire, man, and I'm doing a burlesque number with him. I'm just like, what is my life right now? So I've done some pretty incredible things, like uh, it's just too many to mention. But it's that recently would have been Beehoff. But yeah, I've been very, very fortunate because have been something different, that it stood out to other people, and it's just it's given me some opportunities that I would never have gotten if I didn't push myself to be different, and to not listen to anybody, to conform. So yeah.
Amazing. You'll have to send me, is there videos of the Cat Empire and you on stage? I need to see that.
I think there might be. I mean, I've got some personal ones, like backstage ones and stuff, and I even got to do a spot with Amanda Palmer in Edinburgh. She saw one of my acts, and it was a really dark, not a dark act, but it was a show called Seen and Heard, and we told a story based on an act that we presented, and mine was probably the saddest story of how I kind of, the lot of darker part of my time where I created this act, and I've never told that story. I've never shown that vulnerability. And she was like, well, that's going in my show, and you're coming to the Victoria room and in front of all these people, and you're going to do that. You're going to tell them again. I was like, okay, Amanda Palmer, yes, I will do that. But it's moments like that where you're on the right track, that out of everybody, that she was like, no, that's a story that people need to hear. And it's wasn't a story I ever thought I could tell. So yeah, I'll send you some little behind the scenes stuff of all that sort of thing. But yeah.
Yes,
but
please.
The best is yet to come, babe. The best is yet to come.
Exactly. So if you could travel back in time and talk to yourself when you started burlesque, what would you say?
Oh my God. Don't wear turkey feathers.
Wait, what?
No, but I mean,
what are turkey feathers?
Well, I've been, like we just didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So our costumes we didn't care about the costumes back then. I mean, some did, but for me personally, I quit my full-time job as a graphic designer, and I was a graphic designer for 10 years, and I wanted to be a burlesque dancer. I wanted to be in, and I was doing the swing and I wanted to do something. So I moved to Melbourne. I was making coffees at 6 a.m. in St Kilda, and I was making, only $200 a week. And I was thrust into this world of burlesque where it was just, it looked so pretty. And I was like, I can't afford this. So, I'd be picking up people's broken costumes and collecting rhinestones off the floor, a little bit of turkey feather. There was no 4, 5, 12 ply back in my day. Nobody could afford that shit. And so there was turkey boas, off the back of a bustle. So you just grabbed what you could find, and there was no AliExpress or things that you could just order. And so a lot of the pieces were handmade and hand-me-downs, and it was if I could tell my younger self something, I would be, not, because it did take me a while to stand up to people, and I think I did listen to a lot of people, and I was manipulated by a lot of producers, without shouting out being named. But they're no longer in the scene anymore. But it's
a good thing.
A lot of people were victimized by a certain group of people because we were vulnerable. And I think that I really let myself get caught up in it because I was scared to rebel against them. So I lost a lot of years conforming to what they wanted me to be. And I think if I fought earlier, I probably would have saved a lot of people more, and I would have been able to help a lot more people, because once I did do that, everything opened. I started Burlesque Mafia, which is a Facebook group on Facebook that just was able for people to talk about what was really going on. And there was a lot of things that weren't being spoken about, whether it be, coercion and manipulation and extortion and bullying and abuse, and all of these things were happening in our scene that nobody was talking about. Or people thought that they were only going through it by themselves. And I was like, no, there has to be more people. So if I could tell myself something, I'd say, do it, say it now. Don't wait 3 or 4 years when you have a platform. Tell somebody, talk to someone. If you are being bullied or you are having problems, talk to somebody. They can help you.
Does
So,
that
yeah.
Does the Burlesque Mafia still exist on Facebook?
Yeah. I mean, it started with like 12 people because that's the only 12 people I knew. And that's the only 12 people that probably existed in Australian burlesque back then, because it was hard to know who you could trust as well. But I started this group called Mafia because I was like, it's like, is anybody else being victimized by these people? And it was like, it just grew. It's like me, yes, and it just now grown and grown. And I don't know how many followers we have now. People have come and gone because it has kind of, sometimes it goes through these waves of people just start fighting on there, and it's just like, I was like, so nobody can use the color peach, and they can't use this color cyan with this my red. It's the same. It's like, oh no, this isn't what this group was about. So a lot of people have left, but now come back. But it is a safe space where people can just be open now. And, it's almost 13 years old now, this group. So it has grown to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people of Australia wide, where they can just be honest, ask for advice, and get true answers from people.
I think that's really, really important, because I have found that, those people who have had issues, and as great as the community is, there's always going to be issues. People are people, unfortunately. So I think having a little space where it is safe to like even get some advice and be like, this is the situation. Like, you don't want to step on anyone's toes or like do anything wrong.
For sure.
Because you never want that to affect you badly, like personally or professionally. And it's such a tricky line to sort of step on. But I think it's really important, because obviously a lot of people are going through stuff like that and bullying,
of course,
and everything. So I think
there needs to be open dialogue. Look, and especially now, we have to, forget the bullshit. Like, stop worrying about the bullshit, like the stuff that doesn't matter. Like, think about how this community began. And I touched base on this in Strip Back. Like, we should be so privileged to be doing this, because people died. doing this. People were silenced doing this. People have gone into hiding doing this. People obviously are being abused and being segregated, and there's still, you know, so much going on in burlesque that there's a lot of gatekeeping and a lot of, you know, just a lot of racism and a lot of prejudice. And we as a privileged society need to listen more. And I think that the group, and I've been called out on it many times, and as a producer I really try to be as open and as diverse and with my ears rather than my eyes. But I don't get it right all the time either. But I do have an amazing team, and I've had an amazing platform to be able to give as many people a space to perform as possible. And luckily I do have a full-time job. So for me, my performing and my producing is not for monetary gain.
Mhm.
So we don't do this. I mean, it'd be nice, but it's not. If anyone's telling you they're making money in burlesque, they're lying. They're lying. But it is a very important thing when you are producing to not get caught up in, oh, we're doing it for the clout, or we're doing it because we're, you know, we want to look like we're popular and we want to do that. It's bullshit. You need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be able to look at what's going on in the world and give people space and to show their truth, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not. That's what it is. Burlesque should be uncomfortable sometimes, and it should be for all bodies, and it should be for all genders, and it should be for all races, and that's it, period. Yeah, there's no excuse now. Like, there's no excuse. So don't fight about the bullshit. Fight about what matters.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
For sure. Well, on that note, we're going to go to a break, and we will be back with Kelly and Doll.
Is there like break music that I think?
Yeah.
A quick thanks to Cam Attry for sponsoring the Burlesque Bulletin, and for all his hard work behind the scenes, filming and editing the podcast. Cam has been involved in the burlesque industry for over 12 years through his photography and videography. If you are a performer looking to get promo photos and video, or a producer looking to get your show photographed or filmed, please contact Cam through his website, camattry.photography, or find him on Instagram at camattryphotovideo. And now back to the episode.
Hello, we are back with the beautiful, stunning, amazing Kelly and Doll.
Think it's up.
So we talked about some highlights of yours, but what about some not great moments or some malfunctions on stage?
I mean, I make a career out of the malfunction. I put the funk in malfunction, my friend. I think if whatever has gone wrong there is nothing else to go wrong for me. I have broken fingers. I have cut myself in half. I have, you know, gone through ceilings. I've fallen off stages. I mean, in terms of failing, I've made a career out of it. So, you know, if I don't fall, people feel like they don't have their money's worth.
Funk in malfunctions is also great for merch and for a shirt. So you've got at least two
Putting
ideas.
the funk in malfunction, yeah, for sure. So for me, falling or bleeding on stage is kind of is a normal occurrence for me.
Yes, listen to Stripped Back for one of those specific stories.
Oh yeah. I mean, she'll never be a leg model, put it that way. I have every scar that I see on my leg, and is a show memory. But yeah, lots of battle scars, lots and lots. I mean, I can't get on my knees anymore, unfortunately, because the skin has worn down to tissue paper thin, that if you blow on my knee, it'll bleed.
Oh my God.
So, you know, wise words to young performers: stay off your knees, or at least learn how to get down on them, because slamming was just so much fun. You know, you just drop from 5 feet in the air, just bang on your knees. You're like, what's gonna happen? What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, that. So in terms of failing, I mean, I think you can't have burlesque without fail. You can't have performance and stuff without a bad show. But for me, I think the worst part of my life was going through my career when I was severely depressed. And I think it was hard because I hadn't projected on stage a vulnerability yet. And to go do a performance, after, losing someone in your family, or a breakup, or breaking down of my marriage as well, and you kind of like have to just go out there and you have to smile through it, was, really hard to do. And I then realized, I was like, hang on a minute, I've created this scenario. I've told them what they should be looking at. And what's the worst that could happen if I went out and did a sad one? They might not be as excited, but they might not, it's my 4 minutes. It's my 4 minutes. You paid your ticket. And it was a real like just mind-blowing moment for me, because a lot of the time up until I did actually start to just do whatever I wanted, was always very happy and fun and upbeat, and it was more for them. It was all just to make them happy, and it didn't matter how I felt. And it was the moment where I was going through the breakup of my marriage, and that it was a very dark time. He was quite toxic and abusive, and just mentally so. And I pretended that it wasn't for such a long time, and created Man's World, my act to Man's World, which was a complete polar opposite of what how I danced. And it was such a purge of emotion, and I came off crying most times when I did that performance, because it was just so unlike me. And I just was like able to regain my power and heal through that. And I think that that's probably the last time I ever had a bad show, if I'm being honest, because I never go out there for anybody else but myself now. And I think if you are looking for validation for someone to fill a void, or you're looking for those audiences and that serotonin boost and that dopamine boost to fill a void, even on the internet, it's never going to happen. I think that you should never be make other people's jobs to make you happy, and especially in such a vulnerable genre like burlesque, that you have the opportunity to dance from the heart. I think it's very important to work through those emotions, and you have the ability to do so. And obviously read the room. Don't do it at, if you book for a 50th birthday, don't go out there and dance to Portishead or something, and just maybe just choose a safe space, like that that it's on a variety night where there is a lot of variety, and just take a chance. And be and talk it through with the producers. It's like, hey, look, I know I usually do like this, but today I'm feeling like this. And the right producers will always open that, like allow you to do that. Myself, and I know a lot of other producers would. But if there's a producer out there that be like, no, we'd rather you just stick to what we prefer, they're the people that are holding you back from growing. And you should be able to do whatever the hell you want out there. You're taking your clothes off and you're in control, and it doesn't matter if you're getting paid to do so. You always have the final say. So yeah, that's my answer. Did I answer it? I think it is,
Yes, you did. Yes, no, I think that's like really important to show the vulnerability, and like, because burlesque, it is, I guess for the audience, but it is like, it's our creative process, it's what we want to show, and sometimes showing that vulnerability is like, people can relate to it, obviously.
Yeah.
And it can really move people. And I honestly think there needs to be a little bit more of those types of performances where they're really deep and they're really serious, and because that's what is what life is. And we all go through these absolutely awful trials and tribulations, and sometimes it's just like super important to actually show that. And you'll get people that will come up to you and be like, that is my favorite act of yours that you've ever done.
Do. And I still do. I mean, I don't do Man's World very much anymore, only because it doesn't. I'm not. It doesn't. I'm not in that place anymore.
Yeah.
So when I do it now, it's very powerful in terms of, I'm a sex image and I am owning myself and I don't need a man and I think I'm beautiful. But so but it's still, there's still that baseline reasoning why I did it, and I've come so full circle from that person who was too scared to stand up for herself. And obviously I was a size 6. I didn't have the body that was, sort of, so, society told me that it was a beautiful body. I was very, very tiny and very small, so to be overly sexual and powerful in a size 6 body just didn't make it. I didn't have that confidence, and nobody was telling me that I had a sexy body. So, going through a marriage breakup and being a burlesque dancer, I needed to find that strength. And that song, especially the Etta James version of that song, is really powerful. And when you really listen to it, and none of us, no man would be here if it wasn't for a woman. And I think it's really important to remember that. So if you are going through a relationship, whether it be any gender, you've got to remember that you have the power to speak up and to walk away, and to not let that dim your light or dim your light in any way. And yeah, do what you want. Yeah, make yourself happy. Mm.
So, what's a surprising lesson that you've had to learn, or a challenge that you've had to overcome? I suppose we talked about that a little bit.
I guess trusting people. I think that it's very important to know who your friends are, and also be more aware that, people are selfish, and everybody should be selfish at some point in their life. And um nobody, people are going through their own shit, and a lot of people will project that onto you. And I think that, I've gone through my life and I've lost a lot of people, because I have stood up to them, and be it in burlesque and in my personal life. And in I think it's very, very important to never just agree. If you don't agree with something that someone's doing, and just because they're popular, just because they're more powerful than you, don't be afraid to stand up to them, because they're just using you to gain that confidence. You're fueling that ego. And I think that you got to be okay with losing people to be able to move forward. And I trusted a lot of people for a long time, and I didn't. I allowed them to treat people. I saw how they were treating people. I saw how they were treating me, and I didn't want to rock the boat, because it was hard. And I came from a world where it was hard for me to make friends. I was a bit nerdy in high school, and I didn't really, wasn't very popular. And then I'm in this world now where I have all these friends, and I have all these, all these people that, all these followers and all these, it's like, you know, are they really my friends? And so when you get to your 40, I'm 43 now, I can probably count on this many hands how many people that I'd probably call in a situation where I really needed them, and probably on this many hands how many of them would call me. So I think that's really important, to not think about how many people are liking your pictures, or how many people are coming to your shows, or the only loyalty is with yourself, and you need to be honest with people. And if they're not serving your vibration, if they're not serving your peace, or if you see something that you don't agree with and the way they're speaking to people, tell them, cut them out, cut the cord. And if they retaliate and they come for you, that's them. You've said you've said your truth, and obviously they're gonna have their truth. So there's a truth, the truth, and the truth. But if you're always honest with, this doesn't align with me, and I don't like that, the way that person's being treated, or I don't think that that's right, or you need to say it, or else you're just going to be in this spiral constantly through life. So that is the biggest lesson that I've learned, that I let a lot of people up until now uh, take up space in my life, and just because I didn't want them to hate me, and or I thought they were going to come for me and take away my hard work. And then I just started, like, actually, no, I'm fucking Kellyanne Doll, bitch. I've done enough. I have done enough. I've been there, and I have helped, and I've done enough for people to know that I would never do anything like to hurt anybody. And if anybody ever said those things about me, I know that there'd be quite a few people that would disagree. And I don't even care. If people are going to bitch, they're going to always bitch. So let them bitch, let them talk, and just keep being kind, keep being the better person you were than yesterday, and just being as honest as possible and as transparent as possible. And yeah, you can't go wrong.
Amazing. So what's some really great advice that you've received?
That.
Perfect.
But yeah, but again, just to sort of put that all into one big package is the biggest advice was Pearl. Because when I did Man's World for the first time, I actually wasn't booked to do that act, and it just so happened that one of the other performers had my song, and the producer didn't check that, and we were about to go on tour, and I had to come up with an act, and I was like, "This isn't ready yet," and they're like, "You got to do it anyway," and I was right after Pearl Noir, so Pearl Noir opened the show, and I was second, and I was like, to follow Pearl Noir with an act that wasn't even ready yet, wasn't even rhinestoned yet, and this was a huge tour, and it was a national tour, and I was after her, so it's a very big shoes to fill, and she came off stage, and she didn't even know me back then, so I watched her. She came off stage, and every single show she stayed there and she watched me, and she never not did, like, she could have gone backstage, or she could have like left and done, but she sat there, put her sunnies on. She's such she's so iconic. Went backstage, pasties out, sunglasses on, and she watched me from side of stage, and she was like, yes, 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 do it, because she knew how nervous I was to be doing something that I wasn't prepared to do. And she built this confidence in me, and she watched me every single time that we were on that lineup together. And she's like, every time you go out there, challenge yourself even more. Do something like you're holding back still. I know, like, make, you've got something to get out of you, so don't, every time you go out there, it's a privilege. Every time you have legs, every time you have eyes, every time you have arms, every time you go out on a stage, do something that challenges you, that takes you out of somebody else's funk and touches somebody else or gets them off their feet, or you have an opportunity to use your energy to help somebody or help yourself. So whether or not the crowd doesn't make a sound, or if you don't get the response, you have touched at least one person, and you've given you've healed yourself in one way. So that's probably the biggest advice, that every time I went up on stage, I didn't do it for no reason, so I did it. Even to this day, I always go out there to challenge myself, or to see the most saddest person in the room, or the person that doesn't want to be here, and at least make them crack a smile. And my job's done, and it makes everybody feel good. So
Amazing. Has there been any bad advice that you've received, or maybe some backhanded compliments? We love that.
Yeah, I mean, the bad advice was that I was doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And the bad advice was that my style, my body shape, my choice of music, my inability to not shut my mouth. I was threatened with a lot of legal action because I stood up for myself, because I was like, I don't agree. I don't agree. I came from a competition background where I saw that kind of injustice all the time. Very strictly ballroom vibes, and if you didn't stand up, and then you come into the burlesque scene, and mind you, it was very small. It was very small. We couldn't, we barely knew about each other on opposite sides of Australia, and it was probably less than 50 of us. And maybe 10 that did classic, and 5 that did the kind of rock and roll grunge stuff, and then another 5 that just did like the 1920s style. Like, it was very segregated. So when someone tells you that you're doing it wrong, and they're not booking you, or they're paying you less, and all of that sort of stuff, and I was like, no. And I don't believe this. I didn't give up all my everything that I could have possibly done to just come into another world where I'm told that if I don't do it this way, I won't win. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't care that I wasn't going to win. I didn't do it to win. I've got hundreds of trophies. I did it to show other people that you can do it a different way and still be accepted. And, I still won. But I mean, not without being told that I only won by this much, or
Mm.
you would have won more if you did it this way. But I was like, I don't care. I don't care if I don't win. What I care about is making sure that other people feel safe to do something different and to shake things up. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, another person sees themselves inside on stage and go, I feel like she's got the same energy as me, or it's like, oh my god, she's got the same body type as me. Oh my god, I really like love this music that she's using. That like, you know, so many people have come into burlesque in my world that come up to me and like, you're dancing to basement jacks. Like, I was like, yes, because I'm a party person and I partied all through my 20s and I love basement jacks and, you know, I'll dance to whatever. But somebody's come to me and be like, I didn't realize you could. It's like, of course you can. Of course you can do it. You can do whatever you want. You know, so don't listen to people. You know, just go out there and be yourself and dance to do whatever you want. Life's too short to listen to those people. The people who are telling you to do it a different way, there's a reason.
Mm.
There's a reason. It's all about fear and it's about ego. And they want you to feel that and say no.
Definitely.
Mhm.
So, what do you believe is some of your biggest strengths when performing, and then some weaknesses that you would like to work on?
I think it's a bit late now.
I mean, you've got such a
No.
signature style now, so obviously, like that's the big strength.
I mean, everyone should keep learning. My biggest weakness is that obviously, you know, with age, I never thought I was invincible. I always have, you know, and I throw myself out there and you know, I don't have a 20-year-old body anymore and I've really got to start taking care of myself because if I want to do this for another decade or even longer than that, you know, I'm getting on those Legends Night in Vegas. It's my goal. It's my goal. I want to be 85 and like be like still on my feet and coming up there. So my biggest weakness is that I don't take better care of my body. I do not stretch at all. And it does it's sometimes like lately, you know, I have, you know, my injuries are sort of flaring up a little bit. So my biggest weakness for me is just not taking care of myself because when I'm out there, it's like it's such an amazing experience. And I don't have my biggest strength is that it doesn't I can be literally shaking and wanting to do my pants before I'm about to go on. Still to this day after 18 years. But my biggest strength is as soon as I step out there, I am in control. I'm in control. I know exactly what I'm doing. I love what I do. And I can switch my anxiety off in the moment I step on that stage. And yeah, but the biggest weakness is that I just hurt myself all the time. But I just never had a bad show. I've never had a bad show because I don't care if they're not liking it. If I'm having the best time, then that's all that matters. So my biggest strength is that I can overcome my own anxiety every time I'm out there, and I can push through because I do suffer from anxiety and I suffer from panic attacks, and obviously that is something that is a daily occurrence. And but as soon as I'm out there, my biggest strength is that I know that I'm strong enough to get through it. So that's it's a very safe space for me at all times.
Lovely. So we're going to play a little game.
Ooh.
Okay, it's called This.
Is it like it's basketball or anything with a ball? Because I can't.
No balls, unfortunately.
Okay, great.
Fortunately or
Okay.
unfortunately. Okay, so rhinestones or feathers?
Rhinestones.
C string or G string?
God, neither. It's so uncomfortable. G string. Can you imagine me dancing in a C string? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot of movement. It's going to be shook off.
G string.
Neo or classic?
Porque los dos. I think Neo for me.
Boa
Yeah.
or feather fans?
Boa. I suck at fans.
You got to have like strong wrists, I feel like, for fans.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what do you do with them? Like, So many times I've actually had fans, I've placed them, like they've placed them there and I've walked off and I'm like, oh yeah. I
Forgot
forgot
about
about that. Just aesthetic.
lace or leather,
Leather,
tassels or assels,
tassels.
diamonds or pearls,
Ooh, pearls.
stocking peels or stripper heels,
Stocking peels.
big stage show or intimate bar show.
I love an intimate bar show. I mean, you can't beat a big audience, but I love being close to them.
Cabaret or comedy,
Cabaret,
a movie or a TV series.
TV series.
Are you watching anything at the moment?
I have started to rewatch The New Girl.
Oh, fun.
It is fun. It's so stupid, but I'm also watching The Handmaid's Tale, which is kind of like
Oh, you've got
lot.
the two things going, the super heavy and the super light.
I know.
Balances
I
out.
know. It's like when people have anxiety, they just need to watch stuff that they know the ending to at all times. So
Early bird or night owl,
night owl,
sweet or savory,
savory.
Halloween or Christmas,
Christmas.
red or white wine,
What?
and cocktails or beer.
Cocktails.
Do you have a favorite or a go-to?
Probably a Tommy's margarita would probably be my thing, but I do like my brunch mimosas. So yeah, I don't think it matters. Just give me a goddamn cocktail. It's almost cocktail o'clock, actually. So it's 12 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, almost. So that is all the game, but let everyone know if they don't follow you on Instagram, or where can everyone find you?
Well, yes, you can find me on Instagram, Kellyanne Dole. And I am obviously off to Vegas next week to go to Viva Las Vegas. Very exciting. So keep an eye on my socials and also the Viva Las Vegas Instagram page. But also keep an eye on Red Right Hand Entertainment. That's my production company. We do a lot of events all around town. Sometimes I'm in them, sometimes I'm not. But it all depends on how I feel. But I do have some amazing shows coming up. I go to Brisbane, I go to Melbourne, we're going to Adelaide, we're going to Europe at the end of the year. So much happening. So yeah, just follow me on Instagram and let's have some fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I've had a lovely
My
time.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
And we will definitely talk soon, but good luck, even though you won't need it. Chukas for Viva and everything that you've got going on. That's so exciting.
Thank you so much.
And we'll talk to you soon. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
It's Honey Holloway coming to you from the future. I just wanted to let you guys know that this episode was filmed a couple of months ago, just before Kellyanne was about to hop on a plane and go over to Las Vegas to compete in Viva Las Vegas. And since then, she has won the title. So I just wanted to acknowledge that here and say congratulations, Kellyanne Dole. You're incredible. Thank you so much to our guest for being on the podcast and letting us take a peek behind the curtain of their lives. Thanks for everyone joining us, and we will see you in our next episode.